So here we go, my very first review of a movie. Nothing fancy here, I don't have special effects to show you or clips from the movie or anything of that nature at all. It's just me, my cell phone, and a little stand I have for my cell phone to stand up. So, and of course my complete opinion about the film. So today we are looking at Ghostbusters, Answer the Call. When I first saw previews for it, I wanted to hate the film. I wanted to. The fact that it kind of was showing us clips of, or giving us that nostalgic feel from the original films, and yet it was a complete reboot, felt like shit. It really did. And I really, really want to stop and say that this film is just a giant piece of shit. It's not just a giant piece of shit. It's okay. It really is. It's not the worst film I've ever seen. Trust me, I'm sure I'll get to a point where I tell you my worst films I've seen. That being said, what is there to say about Ghostbusters? Answer the call. A lot of people bagged on the special effects. I didn't complain. I thought the effects were fine. A lot of people complained about the cast. I still don't understand why there needed to be a all-female version of the film. And this isn't me being some male chauvinistic asshole or anything of that nature. I've always said before, I really enjoy strong female characters. One of my favorite characters, one of my favorite films of all time, Aliens. And you don't get much better than a strong female character than Ripley. It's just the top of the level of strong female characters. So that being said, I don't hate women, because a lot of the weird promotion in this was like when there was a backlash about the film at first. The first previews and the first trailers. A lot of the backlash, the cast and crew of it was there was these weird things like Paul Feig saying, "Well, you're anti-woman if you don't go see the film." I don't understand that at all. Can I just not like a film or not want to see a film? Didn't make much sense. Anyway, on to the film itself. Wasn't horrible. Actually kind of fun. I really enjoyed Kate McKinnon as Holtzman. She was sort of a combination of Egon and Venkman, mixed together as a weird, mad scientist kind of character. She steals every scene she's in, without a doubt. Completely steals the whole film. I also enjoyed Hemsworth as the secretary, Kevin. He was a complete moron, but it was funny. It made me laugh. I thought it was hysterical. I will say I don't quite understand why this film would make itself a reboot, and then go out and actually take the time to hire most of the original cast to do cameos that were essentially just garbage cameos. They were throwaways. Who the fuck wanted to see a new Ghostbusters film and have Dan Aykroyd in it as a fucking cabbie? It's just one of the worst ideas I've ever heard in my life. It's complete waste of a fucking cameo. And the same thing with Sigourney Weaver's cameo and Bill Murray's cameo and Ernie Hudson's cameo and I can't think of her name, the gal that was the secretary from the original Ghostbusters movie, Annie Potts. They were all just wasted fucking cameos. Why they were even in the film to begin with, I have no clue. They could have saved themselves the money that they spent on that fucking budget to get these cameos and maybe written a better fucking story. It would have been helpful. Now, the film itself, like I said, the story is actually not bad, and the girls are not bad themselves either. They're okay. Some of them, they vary. Some of them I found very entertaining. I didn't think Kristen Wiig was all that great. She was okay. She was a little bland. And I think mainly because they gave her sort of the leadership of the Ghostbusters, per se. She was clearly the main character in the film, which would essentially be, I guess, an equivalent to being Bill Murray's character from the first two films. But by the same token, she has none of the zest that Bill Murray brings to the role and controls. Bill Murray is a very animated guy. He's a very interesting, funny, and quirky and weird guy, and that's what carries him through being the lead of any movie he's ever been in. Kristen Wiig's character, and I'm not blaming Kristen because I've seen her in some funny stuff before. Her character is very low-key and very... she's not over the top. She's not fun. I mean, she's okay. She's fun and funny, but she's not Bill Murray, clearly. She's not the Venkman character. They took anything that would have been in that realm away from her and just made her more of a super serious character than anything else. Yes, she has some funny bits to it, but she's not very funny in the film because they gave her nothing funny to do or say. A little awkward, as a matter of fact. Geeky, nerdy, even. So she really... The character doesn't come off very well. That's my point. I didn't mind Leslie Jones. I thought Leslie Jones was very funny. Added some flavor to the film that doesn't necessarily... It didn't have, which I appreciated. I'm admittedly not a fan of Melissa McCarthy. Sorry. I know she makes a lot of movies, and I know people think she's very funny, and they enjoy those movies. But I don't like her because every film I've ever seen her in prior to this, her whole bit is, I'm a fat girl, and I fall down and go boom. And I'm not saying that can't be funny. It can be funny, but when that seems to be all you do as an actress... I'm a little put off by it. I don't find it... After a while, I just get tired of it, and I don't care about it anymore. And this is coming from a fat guy. I like fat characters. They're funny, man. I don't care if it's stupid shit, like stuff that is kind of stereotypical of fat characters. Okay, they're eating a lot of food, or they're falling down. You know what, man? I love the Three Stooges, man. I'll tell you every time. Curly falling down and getting the shit kicked out of him is hysterical. It absolutely is. But Melissa McCarthy's characters in most movies just come off as that's the only bit there is to it. And I just don't find her very funny in doing it. Now, I don't know if that's her or the writing or whatever the deal is, but at least in this film, that is not the case for her character. Her character is actually pretty funny. Maybe not super funny, but still pretty funny. She comes off as like the Dan Aykroyd of the film, which is fine. There's no problem with that. Some people complained about the gear. My biggest complaint about the gear for the characters was the jumpsuits they had looked terrible. They looked like fucking sanitation workers. But I didn't mind the proton packs being a little different. I don't know why you would fuck with an iconic prop like that, but I didn't mind them being different. I didn't mind the other weapons that they had in the film. The Shredder was a little bit much. The Ghost Shredder was a bit much, but the Ghost Grenades were kind of cool. So was Holtzman's. I guess they were energy whips. I actually really liked those. Those were pretty fucking cool. My next big issue with the movie kind of rolls back to, and I gotta blame Paul Feig in this, the director. Dude, could you have included enough stuff in there that was man-hating? Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said before, I appreciate strong female characters. I've often said before that I love women's wrestling more than I like men's wrestling, and mainly because they have to work harder and put on a better show. So I'm a very big proponent of strong female characters. But this film seemed to go out of its way to make every male character in the film either stupid, brilliantly stupid. Don't get me wrong, Hemsworth was funny as hell. But every other character is either stupid, evil, or completely just a dick. So, seems a little weird. But, and speaking of dicks, let's talk about how the Ghostbusters actually defeat Rowan. They literally shoot him in the dick. That's it. All 4 streams right in the dick. Can you imagine if that had been the ending of Ghostbusters? Hey guys, you know what we need to do? We need to cross the streams and make sure they go right up her vagina. People would have been like, holy shit, what? You can't put that in a fucking film. That's just not appropriate, man. So, at any rate, I found the aggressive man-hating in the film to be really weird. And then let's talk about the villain, Rowan. As a human being, Rowan was kind of nerdy and geeky and a little creepy, a little weird and creepy. I think they could have probably got somebody better that would have been more creepy than the guy that played him. I honestly don't know his name, and I'm sorry to the actor for saying that. I just don't know who you are. I didn't even bother to look in the credits to figure out who that is. But I thought he was probably a bit creepier when he was alive. Oh, spoiler alert. Yeah, he gets killed halfway through the film. But the point of it is he gets killed so that he can become a ghost and become stronger and try to take over. And then he turns into the fucking logo. The actual ghost logo. He turns into it with a big red bow tie. The size of buildings he is. I don't know who approved this idea, but it was the worst fucking concept I've ever heard of my life. It was, somebody needed to sit down and say, okay, who's the real villain? Because after after Gozer and after Vigo, this is the shittiest villain. I mean, I'm pretty sure there were cooler villains in the goddamn cartoon series than there were in this movie. Rowan is a terrible villain. It was absolutely terrible. So the funny thing is I had rented this, and then I eventually went and bought it myself because I really didn't know how I was going to like it or whether I was going to like it at all. I overall do end up liking the film. Basically, I feel like it's a lot of missed opportunities. I don't know if there'll ever be another chance to make Ghostbusters a big franchise again like it was. And the fact that instead of working to make the fans of the old franchise happy and bring in new fans and new characters, sort of a Ghostbusters The Next Generation kind of deal like Star Trek did, the fact that they didn't bother to put that together and make it something that everybody, old and new fans, could enjoy. And I think old fans will all admit, we all know, we were not going to get a Ghostbusters 3. Bill Murray just didn't want to do it. And without Bill Murray, it just was pointless to do. Now, that being said, I also know that since we lost a cast member, we knew that was not going to happen again as well. Once that was gone, it was over. We knew there would be no Ghostbusters 3 no matter what. So the fact that we were going to get something new, there was probably a good chance that it was going to be new characters and new stories and stuff like that. And that's fine. I think we all could have lived with that. I think, if anything, we've all learned from Star Trek The Next Generation that can work. It will work. It can work. It does work. But the fact that this film took the old movies, pretty much tossed them in the ball in the garbage, and then just shit on everything that everybody loved about them, really put a lot of people off. Really did. And it didn't help that the movie itself was poorly thought out and seemed to be just this marketing campaign of ideas all thrown together. Does not help the movie at all in any way, shape, or form. That being said, I don't hate it. I really don't. As much as I complained about it in this review here, I do not hate Ghostbusters Answer the Call. I've watched it at least 3 or 4 times since I bought the DVD. Because it does have its fun moments. The characters are fun. They interact very well. Holtzman especially is a great character. I loved her in this movie. She steals every scene. I've said that. But, so, I mean, there we go. That's just me, my DVD or Blu-ray, my camera, my cell phone, making a review. I'll probably do some more of these somewhere along the line, here and there, and you're probably just going to see, I don't really give a shit about what my hair is like or anything of that nature, so don't expect anything high quality in these videos. It's just me throwing some shit out there and spitting a little, what I feel is common sense, and giving you some ideas on the movie. So that being said, should you go and rent or buy or watch Ghostbusters Answer the Call? It's worth it for one shot, at least. It's not something you're going to walk away from and say to yourself, holy shit, what did I do? This is a terrible fucking movie. It's not the greatest movie in the world. However, it is also not the worst movie. It genuinely has some fun moments. I think kids will like it a little bit more, maybe. I think fans of the original franchise are probably going to hate it a little bit more. But if you walk into it with an open enough mind, you should be able to at least sit through it once and say to yourself, it was better than I expected, but nowhere near as good as I had hoped.